Greetings, everyone. This is the Gardening Snail of Livingston, California, just trying to keep the community informed and local government as honest as possible. In this video, we will be going over the agenda for the first regular City Council meeting held in 2023, which is January 17th, 2023, adding a little commentary and additional information along the way. Regular meeting, January 17th, 2023, open session to begin at 7 p.m. We encourage all members of the public to participate in the meeting via teleconference by calling 520-525-8911. Additionally, the meeting will be streamed on YouTube Live. Any writings or documents pertaining to an open session item provided to a majority of the members of the legislative body less than 72 hours prior to the meeting shall be made available for public inspection by email if requested. Public comments can be submitted via email at citycouncil@livingstoncity.com. Comments must be received by 2 p.m. on the day of the City Council meeting in order for them to be distributed to the Council prior to consideration of the matter. You will need to provide meeting date, item number, name, email, and comment. Please limit to 300 words or 3 minutes, and please include public comment in the subject for the email. Written comments will not be read aloud at the meeting, but will be reported as received for the record. If you do not receive an acknowledgement of receipt by 4 p.m., please call the City Clerk's office at 209-394-8041, extension 121. Note, this technology is not a guaranteed method. After the Pledge of Allegiance moment of silence, roll call, closed session announcements, and changes to the agenda is citizens' comment. This section of the agenda allows members of the public to address the City Council on any item not otherwise on the agenda. Comments are normally limited to 3 minutes. After citizens' comments is a presentation about the Highway 59 organic waste transfer processing operations. There's a whole bunch of new regulations from the state that will affect how much it's going to cost you to have your garbage picked up in the future. The state is demanding that the amount of organic waste going into landfills be reduced substantially, and the programs put into place to do so will end up costing us all more money. There have been some new additions to this section of the agenda for announcements and reports. After Supervisor Espinoza, city staff, city manager, city council members, and mayor, you'll see additions to the list that tell you the various commissions and committees council members have been assigned to. This gives you an idea of the kinds of reporting you should be expecting from members of the council going forward. Moving forward to the consent agenda, items number 2 and 3 are pretty standard. Item 4, adopting the master salary schedule, usually pops up at least once a year. For example, if there have been changes in the minimum wage or changes due to labor negotiations. Item number 5 is because the signature card needs to be updated for the bank whenever there is a new mayor, city manager, finance person, or other person who would be authorized to sign checks. For item number 6, Livingston is getting some money from MCAG that comes from a portion of the money people pay to register their vehicles. The money Livingston gets will be spent on a vehicle for the PD. Item number 7 is money Livingston is getting from the Remote Access Network Board and will be spent on 8 Panasonic Toughbooks with docking stations and keyboards for the police department. Item 8 is pretty much about undoing what the previous council did when they decided to dump the position of Public Works Director with water and wastewater certification, in favor of creating the position of a Public Services Director position without water and wastewater certifications. That doesn't seem to have worked out, and the city is doing a do-over. For item 9, the disposal of surplus items comes up at least a couple of times a year or so. In the recent past, the practice was to send the surplus to an independent company. My understanding was it was like some kind of independent auction house. That was because in the more distant past, there were rumors of employees getting first dibs on surplus items, and some people were not too happy about that. Item 10, the zoning text amendment on the surface seems like a standard housekeeping item. However, buried amongst those housekeeping items is a very big change in how the city would approve certain building projects. Ever since 2005, which was during the last building boom, the Planning Commission was the recommending body for site plan design review, and the City Council was the approving body. Over the years, proposals to remove this approval power from the City Council have come and gone. Historically, most residents have gone to City Council to voice any questions or objections about proposed projects. However, public participation at Planning Commission meetings have usually been slim to none. Item number 11 is about approving an agreement with Giovea Engineering. They have been contracting with the city for engineering services since at least 2013, if I'm remembering correctly. Item 12, Planning Commission vacancies. In a previous video, I pointed out how the January Planning Commission was only able to take place because 2 alternate members of the commission showed up to fill the quota. Now there are 2 vacancies that need to be filled, and a decision must be made to either extend the terms of 2 commissioners or appoint new ones. Given that there are some major projects that should be going before the Planning Commission in March, this is not something the council can just willy-nilly punt down the road into the future. Item 13, about teleconferencing. From what I've read in the staff report, this is about requiring city council members, commissioners, and subcommittee members to physically show up at meetings from now on. No more phoning it in. Item 14, the fireworks ordinance. I didn't see a staff report on this one. It's something that's been brought up and then punted forward more than a couple of times over the last several months. Given how excruciatingly long this agenda already looks, I would not be surprised if it gets punted forward again. Moving on to discussion and potential action items. Item number 15, appointing a member to fill the City Council vacancy. In November 2022, Council member Jose Moran was elected mayor. This created a vacancy on the City Council. 5 people have put in an application for appointment to this vacancy. David Blevins, Melissa Cyphers-Veering, Omar Herrera, Jatinder Mann, and Robert Wallace. If the council appoints someone that evening, that person will be immediately sworn in, meaning they will be joining the rest of the council for the closed session scheduled for after the end of the regular meeting. Under closed session, we have item number 17, a discussion about the appointment of an interim city manager. Because the city manager we had after the previous city council terminated the previous city manager is now on an indefinite leave of absence of some kind. And our acting city manager, who is really our finance director, would really rather be a finance director instead of an interim city manager. I'm just curious about who would even want to try to work here, given the political chaos that seems to have been going on since July of 2021. While we're on the topic of political chaos since July 2021, let's bounce down to item number 19, existing litigation, Jose Ramirez versus City of Livingston. Mr. Ramirez was the previous city manager who was terminated by the previous city council right after they hired White Brenner LLP as the city attorney. Some people even think White Brenner was hired specifically to help terminate Mr. Ramirez, and that it may have something to do with a squabble over the position of police chief and/or police lieutenant, among a few other things. If you're interested, there is a separate video about Mr. Ramirez's original claim for damages against the city on my YouTube page. While we're on the subject of litigation, let's take a look at item number 20, potential litigation. I looked up the government code cited here, which refers to significant exposure to litigation. Like, so what else is new around here? Backing up to item number 18, terms of lease of property, from looking up the APN number on a parcel map, this either relates to the building next door to the council chambers or the little piece of land a taco truck usually sits on. It could be time for the taco truck to be renewing the lease with the city in order to be able to park there. If you like what I do here, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Facebook. If you don't, well, thanks for hanging out this long. Editorial content and historical recollections are my own as a resident of Livingston and City Council watcher since at least 2007, and does not represent the views and opinions of the City Council or the City of Livingston.